right, well, thank you everybody who joined. I appreciate you taking time to come see this demo. This is recorded, so hopefully anybody who's interested can find it and watch it. Brief introduction, my name is Jon McBee, and I am a contributor to the XDC network. One of the things that we felt was missing was a voting dApp on the network. And so I worked with Phil here from MetaMath to build this dApp. So the dApp itself, entirely funded by me personally. We'll have a private company that funded it. Just for clarity, this is not yet owned by XDC Community. My plan is to give the IP to XDC Community shortly. But what we have now today, we'll look at in a second here, is a MVP, very much a beta still, deployed to Apothem network with a front end for on-chain voting. And the goal, as you'll see, is for this voting dApp to be self-sustainable. Every time somebody creates a proposal, they have the option of setting a toll, which I'll show you, or Phil will show you. And that toll goes to a treasury, and that treasury, whose address will be shared on the landing screen, is going to be used to fund future work on the voting dApp. And so as the voting dApp is adopted, if it is, it'll hopefully become self-sustaining and be able to pay for its hosting costs, be able to pay for feature upgrades or bug fixes. The source code will be made available publicly on the XDC Community GitHub, licensed with an MIT license. It's not there yet. Before it goes on to mainnet, I'll make sure that happens. And so what you're seeing today is technically MVP beta owned by my private company. The source code is not available yet, but long-term goal is to get it there. So Phil, without further ado, do you want to share your screen and you can walk us through and I can kind of ask questions as we go?
Sure. Let me just share my screen real quick.
Or if you want to introduce yourself, Phil, sorry, I didn't do you justice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phil. I work with my own company called MetaMath. We have been working with XDC for a while now. I think we've been working together for 2 or 3 months. And we are doing a lot of great stuff together with the good folks from XDC. And yeah, we hope we continue creating these dApps and the work that we did before with the tutorials. So yeah, let me talk about the voting dApp itself. So yeah, when Jon approached me and asked, just start streaming my face. When Jon asked about if it was possible to create something for the XDC community to vote on the proposals that we were doing before on the XDC Dev forum, we came up with this idea of creating a dApp where people would be able to not only create the proposals, but it would be possible to set up a voting toll that they could pay, and then the XDC community could use to fund new stuff in the future. So after a while thinking about how we could do that, we came with this prototype that I'm going to show you guys right now. I invite you all to visit. This is a placeholder. This is not the URL that is going to be on the live dApp, but I invite you all to visit this URL and try it for yourself if you have the time. And we really appreciate your feedback. If you have the time, you can go ahead and click here and give your feedback. You'll be prompted to. Okay, right now it's not pointing to the form, but I'm going to solve this in a few minutes. But you can go ahead and click on the Google form link here and give us your feedback. Let's start by creating a new account. I want to start this from
Hey, Phil, sorry to interrupt. I want to say one thing real quickly. So the plan is to operate this in beta mode, solicit feedback from the community from that form, which will be there later on today. Take that feedback. We're looking for bugs. We're looking for feature requests, whatever feedback you want to provide to us, and implement what we think fits the criteria for this to be a minimum viable product. And once we've gone through that second phase, that's when we'll deploy it to mainnet, and it'll become live. It'll become IP owned by XDC Community with open source MIT license source code. So that's kind of where we are.
And then just check. Yeah, I just hit refresh here on the page, and the form is already ready. And to anyone who wants to give their input on the actual state of the dApp. Let's start by connecting my XDC Pay wallet. It will be prompted to these terms of use. You have to agree and clicking connect, so you can start using the dApp. Once you have connected, I have here a few templates that I have created before when I was testing the dApp. You can see that we can filter by typing a keyword, right? There's one that is called proposal. You can filter by tags. We have a few tags like core, like treasure, like XDC Community, and so on. And
sorry, Phil, I'm just gonna keep interrupting you because I'm a nice guy.
No problem. Yeah.
For now, those tags we have a hard-coded subset. We fully expect a requested feature to be dynamic tagging, and so that's something we plan to implement long-term, but for now, we do have that fixed list of tags. So,
yeah. And one of the things that I find the most interesting in this dApp today is that when you start creating a new proposal, you have these. Of course, you have to give a title to your proposal. You have the option to use any number of tags that you have. As John said, we have 4 hard-coded tags today, but in the future we want to give the community the opportunity to create a lot of different tags. Maybe even give colors to these tags, so you can easily differentiate one thing from another. You have, of course, to set a starting date for this proposal and an ending date. A voting tool that John probably is going to talk about this.
Yeah, you know what? Let me do it right now. So we mentioned this already briefly. We introduced the concept of a voting toll because it's intended to be a security measure. And so the proposer of the vote can set a number of XDC that will effectively be sent to the treasury. There is a built-in burning mechanism as well. And so we can set a burn percentage of that toll. But whatever's not burnt will go to treasury to be used for future features, bug fixes, whatever the community wants, right? And so how do we decide on features with that toll treasury? Using the dApp. So people can propose new features through this voting dApp, and we'll let the community decide how we spend the treasury that gets generated.
And then we have this approval threshold that you can set the percentage of votes necessary so the proposal pass or fail, depending on the votes, of course. We have this markdown description editor that is pretty interesting. If you already work with GitHub, you can split to the left, so you can use only the proposal editor. You can split to the right to see how it's looking on real time, and you can even expand that, and it gives you more space to work on your proposal. So yeah, there's a pretty cool feature that the voting dApp has. For example, if I have something that I have already that I have wrote on GitHub, I can just go there, copy all these markdown code, and paste this code on my paste this code on my editor, and it's going to show me how it's going to look, giving me a preview of this proposal. Yeah, and of course you can also go ahead and go here to the top and see the actual preview for this proposal. And this is how this is going to look like when you actually publish this proposal to the blockchain. And so yeah, let's go back here and fire out this proposal. I'm going to hit publish. Let me just check if I have the XDC for that. If you are going to use the dApp and you don't have XDC on your account, you can go to the faucet on the Apothem network and paste your address there and request a few XDC so you can try this dApp out. Let's go to publish. Once we hit publish, the XDC pay is going to pop up so we can confirm the publish method. And it will take a few seconds so the transaction goes through as usual for anything that you do on chain, right? And once you have published that proposal, you can see that it's now live, and you can go ahead, see what's going on. You can see who already voted. You can see the smart contract on the blockchain. If you click here, it will take you to the block explorer, to that smart contract, and you can go ahead and start voting. So let's hit yes here on my own proposal. And this is something that I still have to work on. Once the proposal goes through, it's not immediately updating on the front end, but if we go back and enter this proposal again, you can see that now we have compute my vote and shows that I have voted for yes. And here we have the list of all the voters that have voted for that specific proposal.
So Phil, can you show us what it means when we say on-chain voting? Like, what do we actually retain on-chain?
Yeah, so here I have these two transactions on this account that I'm using. Just grabbing the address real quick. And so yeah, I have these two interactions with my smart contract, which is the XDC network voting smart contract v1. It will be able to update this smart contract later on if necessary. But right now, we can see that the first transaction that I have sent is the propose method itself, where I have proposed this proposal, and all these data that you can see here is actually the data that is linked to that proposal. It's all in bytecode now, but it's possible to decode this information and see that these actually match the information that you're seeing here on the voting dApp. And then we have the second transaction here, that is the cast vote transaction itself. Right now we have set the burning rate for the dApp to 50. It means 50%, and this is the treasury address on the testnet. And if you go to the transaction, you see that half of those XDC that we have paid to cast the vote, half of those have been sent to the zero address, which is the burn address, and half of them have been sent to the treasury, treasury address.
One thing real quick, burning and tokenomics is not simple. It's rather complex. And so this is a variable that can be changed. We haven't even established where we want to start with the burn mechanism. I would say we would probably want a community vote on that and get a lot of people's opinions together before we set that for initial release. And then we can revisit it as needed and update that burn as we see fit, we being the community, everybody. And one other thing I'll mention real quickly. So Phil, you showed the bytecode for the proposal, not on this UI you see today, but in the pipeline is actually the ability to link files and store them on IPFS. So for really large proposals or with images or whatever, where you would have trouble fitting the content on the chain, we plan to use IPFS and then point back towards that file.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, the last thing I want to show is how these proposals looks like on chain. You can go ahead and query for the proposal number 8, for example, and then we have the proposer ID, the proposer address. Is this proposer an authorized user? When it opens is a timestamp, Unix timestamp. When it closes, the total passing percentage, the yes votes, the no votes, the abstained, and the current state of that particular proposal. There are 5 states today. They are not open, closed, passed, and failed. So right now we are on the first state that is open. And of course we can also, as John said, we can set a burning rate. Right now it is 50. We can, let's say, I want to change this burning rate to 80. This is a percentage. And just connect my wallet first, and I am able to do that because I'm using the owner account. So only the owner of the smart contract will be able to do this particular use this particular method. So. And you can go back to.
So someone just asked, what does the burn rate do? We're literally burning XDC. So there's a wallet address on chain, which is just all zeros, where if XDC goes there, it's no longer accessible on the network. And when we go to mainnet, what we'll be able to do is actively burn XDC with each proposal, with each vote. And that's allowed for in the tokenomics. It's kind of loose right now. There's not a real strong definition. That's why I wanted to keep this flexible, because I think that as tokenomics are thought through more carefully, we will want to tune that number. So XDC has both inflation and deflation. The inflation is the XDC that are minted by Masternodes for validating. And then the deflation is what you're seeing here. We can actually burn part of the circulating supply by casting a vote.
Yeah, so that's pretty much.
Phil, you forgot the most important feature, man.
Which?
You know what I'm talking. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, today the voting dApp is completely compatible with dark mode for those who like using dark mode, and yeah, we would like to you guys to give feedback on the colors of the dApp. Me personally, I think this blue is a little bit too dark, but this is something that we can change pretty easily. And we would love to hear from you guys, what you guys think.
Exactly. Yep. So minimum viable product here that we can use to eat our own dog food, as they say, and let people vote on whatever they think is important about this dApp. So to reiterate at a high level, this is an on-chain voting dApp. It's currently deployed to Apothem. The URL that you see right there today, you're free to go and use to explore the dApp. Before we go to mainnet, we'll use a different domain for it. The domain is not established yet. As I mentioned, ownership of the IP is going to be transferred to XDC Community. The source code is going to be made open source with an MIT license. I personally don't care if people want to fork this and make it better and run it themselves. It doesn't matter to me. This is something that the network needs. It's free market. Whoever can make the best dApp that the people want to use, they're going to take the market share. As you can see, we have this burning mechanism. We have a toll mechanism. The idea is to balance tokenomics while making the dApp self-sustainable. There is no revenue coming back to the community, coming back to me personally. This is entirely going to be self-sustaining. That said, logistically, this is an on-chain voting dApp. We encourage people to come in and make proposals, test the dApp out, give us feedback. And our goal is, after some amount of time, I don't know what that amount of time is yet, maybe it's a month. Maybe we decide that at the end of January or the first week in February, we take all the feedback that we've gotten and we have a dialogue with the community, whoever's interested, and we decide what features need to be implemented, what bugs need to be fixed before we deploy this to mainnet and do the IP transfer. So that's roughly the plan, is to give people 3 to 4 weeks to play with this tool and understand it. And then from there, we'll make it live and people can start to use it. I would like to use this for the XIP process so that we could quantify votes against XIPs. This could become a tool that gets used for grants, for the grant process. Right now, we are voting on XDC.dev, which is very clunky. All of those votes could take place here, and you could link to an XDC.dev discussion where people talk about what's being built. Let's see, there's questions popping up. So Shane, 2 questions. 1, can a participant withdraw a vote prior to close? I don't believe so. Phil, you answer that one.
Yeah, right now this is not possible, but this is doable. So this is something that in the future, if the community thinks that is the best for this dApp, definitely we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, where will proposal-related discussion take place? So Phil, if you just create a new proposal, go to that screen. And scroll down a little bit. So link right there where the link, you can paste an XDC.dev discussion thread right there. And so the intent is not to define where discussions take place, but to provide a means of linking to the discussion. And once you've made the proposal public, that link will travel with it, and people can always go back and look at the discussion that took place. Good questions. What is with an address voting, then sending XDC to another address and voting again? No. So the mechanism to I don't know about prevent, but disincentivize people from doing that is the toll. And so we're going to make it actually cost them money, or XDC in this case. That toll is not staking. You don't get that back. So if you want to spend thousands of XDC, then there's no mechanism in place that will prevent you from doing that. This is a first pass at that kind of security. And remember that this is entirely driven by community wants. And so if people have better ideas that we could implement, then we should make a proposal and vote on it using this dApp to make the dApp better. That's entirely the intent here. I've got ideas for future features that I plan to propose on here. I'd like to see a notion of whitelisting on this dApp. We could do something interesting like talk to Zinfen about creating an API where we can query and get addresses of masternode owners and whitelist those addresses, and then this tool could be used for masternode voting for, say, a protocol upgrade adoption, something like that. But whatever people think is important, this tool is for you. Make your voice heard and let the community vote. Is the table of contents stuff just the space of the layout? Oh, that table of contents that you see right there, that is just what Phil pasted in. You can put whatever you want there. You don't have to have a table of contents. There's no style guide around how to write a proposal just yet, but that doesn't mean somebody shouldn't create one. Cool. Yeah, so it can be whatever you want it to be. And that's what we have today. So that's a demo. That's the URL you can go to play with it. There's a mechanism in place for feedback. My hope is that people will take it seriously. This is intended to be a community tool that's entirely driven by community needs, and we'll use the feedback to make the tool better as the community dictates. I plan to fund one final iteration before we push this over to XDC Community, at which point community funds would be used to support this dApp.